Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, check out my Patreon, like, comment, make sure you hit the notification bell. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that you should know before you buy your first motorcycle. So let's get into it. Alright, so the very first thing that you got to know if you want to buy your very first street bike, it doesn't even have to be a street bike, but if you want to buy your very first motorcycle, the first thing you want to know is the style of riding that you're going to be doing. Are you going to be touring lots? The primary purpose of your bike is, going long distances, going on day trips, times where you're going to be on the bike for long amounts of time. If so, what kind of bike? You're probably looking for a touring or a sports touring, or some guys choose adventure bikes. Or are you going to be commuting? You're going to be driving to work. Most of the time you're going to use that bike as driving to work, through town, through city, etc. There's so many options, too many to name. It's very, very important that you match the style of riding that you're going to be doing for the most part with the kind style of bike that you're going to buy. Second thing, and this is very important, this is just as important as the first one. If this is your first bike, or the first bike you're going to buy, I'm not talking about that little dirt bike that your parents got you when you were a kid and you rode it around in the backyard. That's fine. If this is the very first bike that you're going to buy for yourself, buy used. Now some of you might be saying, well, hey, you said you bought your bike brand new, and yeah, this was my first bike I bought myself, and I did buy brand new. And you know what? I wish I hadn't, because not long after I bought this bike, I found the same bike for half the price that I ended up paying for this bike. Because when you buy brand new, there's always fees. There's always fees at dealerships. There's always all sorts of hidden fees that you don't know about until later. Okay? So buy used. You will save yourself a ton of money. And when you change your mind about the bike and you end up all of a sudden deciding that, hey, I don't like this, if you bought a brand new bike and you're financing it, unless you got the extra money, you're kind of stuck with that, Third very important thing for you to know before you go and buy your bike: whatever sum of money you have saved aside, understand that you cannot, should not spend all of that money on just your motorcycle. You need a helmet, you need a jacket, you need boots or shoes, good shoes that are meant for riding, gloves. You need all your gear. You need it, absolutely. And I know I don't always ride with my gear on, and it's hot sometimes. I get it if you're not going to wear your gear all the time, but you still have to have it, and you should always wear it. You always should. Even if it's hot, you still should. I should too, I just don't. But yeah, keep in mind, you still have to buy all that gear. So don't spend every dollar that you saved up and keep all of that and spend all of it on just the bike, because there is other costs that you're going to be spending money on. Number 4 thing that you gotta know: what is your experience level? Do you know how to ride a motorcycle? Have you ridden maybe a dirt bike for a couple of years? Have you ridden a friend's bike, or have you ridden your parents' bike, or whatever it may be? Do you have any experience being on 2 wheels at all? Very important to know your experience and skill level. What is your experience level? That's really going to make a big difference in what is the kind of bike that you want to start on. Because you don't want to overestimate your skill level. You don't want to overestimate it, because that's going to get you into trouble, is what that's going to do. Now, I'm not saying get a lame, boring bike where you can't learn on. Make sure you buy something that's still going to, you know, push you a little bit, but you don't want something where, you know, it just goes beyond just a bit of a learning curve. Last thing for you to consider is, once you have your bike and you have all your gear and you have all of that, you still got to pay for insurance. Unless you're riding without, I would not recommend that. But you still have to pay for insurance, and it depends where you live. In some places you might get fair bike insurance. I live in Canada, in Manitoba to be specific, and our bike insurance is crazy. I pay a crazy amount of insurance. You gotta keep in mind that you're still going to be paying insurance money after that, and it's important and it's worth your while taking a look at a bike, then going to your insurance broker and saying, hey, how much would it cost for me to insure this bike? And they might give you a rate, you know, they say, hey, this is how much. You might say, oh, that's too much. You go looking for a different bike, you go back again, and all of a sudden their insurance is cheaper. It depends on the size of your engine. It depends on, I don't know what kind of statistics they'll use, but, and I guess that depends also on where you live. But I know here, some guys that have smaller bikes than me, they pay a lot less on insurance than I do. Which, where another point, the whole buying used thing comes in again. A used bike, if it's 5-6 years old, it's going to be cheaper on insurance than that same bike brand new. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you guys today. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I put out more videos. Check out my Patreon if you feel like you want to support the channel. Ride safe, guys, and until next time.